Chapter 5. The Names of the Hells. At that time, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva Mahasattva said to Earth Store Bodhisattva, Human one, for the sake of gods and dragons, those in the fourfold assembly, and all other beings of the present and future, please tell us the names of the hells where beings in the Saha world on the continent of Jambudvipa must suffer retributions for offenses they commit. Please also describe what happens during retributions undergone for evil deeds, so that beings in the future Dharma ending age will know what those retributions are. Earth Store Bodhisattva replied, Human one, based on the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha and relying on your strength, great Bodhisattva, I will give a general list of the names of the hells and describe some of what happens during retributions undergone for offenses and evil deeds. Human one, in eastern Jambudvipa there is a mountain range called Iron Ring. That mountain range is pitch black because the light of the sun and moon does not shine on it. A great hell named Ultimate Relentless is located there. Another hell is called Great Avishi. There is also a hell called Four Horns, a hell called Flying Knives, a hell called Fiery Arrows, a hell called Squeezing Mountains, a hell called Piercing Spears, a hell called Iron Carts, a hell called Iron Beds, a hell called Iron Oxen, a hell called Iron Clothing, a hell called Thousand Blades, a hell called Iron Asses, a hell called Molten Copper, a hell called Embracing Pillar, a hell called Flowing Fire, a hell called Blowing Tongues, a hell called Hacking Heads, a hell called Burning Feet, a hell called Pecking Eyes, a hell called Iron Palace, a hell called Quarreling, a hell called Iron Axe, and a hell called Massive Hatred. Earth Store Bodhisattva said, Human one, within the Iron Ring are endless hells like that. There is also the hell of crying out, the hell of pulling tongues, the hell of dung and urine, the hell of copper locks, the hell of 5 elephants, the hell of 5 dogs, the hell of 5 horses, the hell of 5 oxen, the hell of 5 mountains, the hell of 5 ropes, the hell of 5 beds, the hell of 5 beams, the hell of 5 eagles, the hell of sawing teeth, the hell of flaying skin, the hell of drinking blood, the hell of burning hands, the hell of burning feet, the hell of hanging hooks, the hell of fire rooms, the hell of iron cells, and the hell of fire wolves. Each of those hells contains lesser hells numbering from 1, 2, 3, 4 to hundreds of thousands. Each of those lesser hells has its own name. Earth Store Bodhisattva told Universal Worthy Bodhisattva, Human one, such are the karmic responses of beings in Jambudvipa who commit evil deeds. The power of karma is extremely great. It rivals Mount Sumeru in its height. It surpasses the great oceans in its depths. It obstructs the path leading to sagehood. For that reason, beings should never think that minor bad deeds are unimportant or assume that they do not count as offenses. After death, there will be retributions to undergo that reflect on those details. Fathers and sons have the closest relationship, but their roads diverge and each must go his own way. Even if they met, neither would consent to undergo suffering in the other's place. Now, based on the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha, I will describe some of the retributions for offenses that take place in the hells. Please, human one, listen for a moment to what I am going to say. Universal Worthy replied, I have long known of the retributions that come about in the three evil paths. My hope in asking the human one to describe them is that when beings in the future Dharma ending age who are committing evil deeds hear the human one's descriptions, they will be moved to take refuge with the Buddha. Earthstar said, Human one, this is what happens during retributions in their hells. Offenders may go to a hell in which their tongues are stretched out and plowed through by cattle, or to a hell in which their hearts are pulled out and eaten by yakshas, or to a hell in which their bodies are cooked in cauldrons of boiling oil, or to a hell in which they are forced to embrace red hot copper pillars, or to a hell in which they are burned by a fire that constantly pursues them, or to a hell in which cold and ice are all pervasive, or to a hell in which excrements and urine are endless, or to a hell in which flying mazes are unavoidable, or to a hell in which fiery spears stab them repeatedly, or to a hell in which they are constantly beaten on the chests and backs, or to a hell in which their hands and feet are burned, or to a hell in which they are bound by iron snakes that coil around them, or to a hell in which they are pursued by racing iron dogs, or to a hell in which their bodies are stretched by iron moons. Human one, to inflict these retributions in each hell, hundreds of thousands of instruments made of copper, iron, stone, or fire arise from karmic forces. These four materials come into being in response to the kinds of karma that offenders create. If I were to explain in detail what happens during retributions in the hells, then I would need to tell of the hundreds of thousands of sufferings that must undergo in each specific hell. How much more would that be the case for the sufferings in all the many hells? Now, having based myself upon the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha, I have given a general answer to the human one's question, for if I were to speak in detail, I would take aeons. It would take aeons. Chapter 6, the First One's Praises. At that time, the world-honored one emitted a great bright light from his entire body, totally illuminating Buddha lands as many as grains of sand in millions of billions of Ganges rivers. His strong voice reached all the Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas in those Buddha lands, as well as the gods, dragons, ghosts, and spirits, humans, non-humans, and others, as he said, Listen today, as I praise Earthstar Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who displays inconceivable awesome spiritual strength and compassionate power throughout the 10 directions in rescuing and protecting beings who are suffering for offenses they have committed. After I pass into tranquility, all of you Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, and all of you gods, dragons, ghost spirits, and others should use vast numbers of expedient means to protect the Sutra and to cause all beings to attain the bliss of Nirvana. After that was said, a Bodhisattva named Universal Expansive rose in the assembly, placed his palms together respectfully, and said to the Buddha, We are now about to witness the world-honored one praising Earthstar Bodhisattva's inconceivably great awesome spiritual virtue. We hope that the world-honored one will also aid beings in the future Dharma ending age by telling us about how Earthstar Bodhisattva benefits people and gods and about the workings of cause and effect. That will help the gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division, along with the beings of the future, to receive the Buddha's teaching respectfully. At that time, The world Honored One said to the Bodhisattva, universally expansive, and to all those in the fourfold assembly, listen attentively. Listen attentively. I will briefly describe to you how Earth-star Bodhisattvas' virtuous deeds keep benefiting people and gods. Universal Expansive replied, Excellent World Honored One, we will be happy to listen. The Buddha told the Bodhisattva universally expansive, if in the future good men or women, upon hearing Earth-star Bodhisattva Mahasattvas' name, place their palms together, praise him, bow to him, or gaze at him in worship, they will overcome 30 years worth of offenses. Universally expansive, if good men or women gaze upon and bow but wants to painted or drawn images of the Bodhisattva, or images made of clay, stone, lacquer, gold, silver, or bronze, they will be reborn 100 times in the heaven of the 33 and will eternally avoid falling into the evil destinies. If their blessings in the heavens come to an end and they are born in the human realm, they will become national leaders who will suffer no loss of benefits. There may be women who dislike having female bodies. Suppose that they wholeheartedly make offerings to images of Earth-star Bodhisattva, such as paintings or images made of clay, stone, lacquer, brass, iron, or other materials. If they continually make offerings day after day without fail of flowers, incense, food, drink, clothing, colored silks, banners, money, jewels, and other items, then when those good women finish their current female retributions throughout thousands of millions of years, they will never again be born in worlds where there are women, much less be one, unless they choose to, through the strength of their compassionate vows, in order to liberate beings. Based on the strength of their offerings to Earth-star Bodhisattva and the power of their meritorious virtues, they will not be born with female bodies for hundreds of thousands of years. Moreover, universally expansive, some women may have imperfect features or be prone to sickness. Disliking those problems, they can sincerely gaze at and bow to images of Earth-star Bodhisattva with sincere resolve for even just a few minutes, and consequently, throughout millions of future eons of rebirth, they will continually be endowed with full and perfect features. If those women whose features are currently imperfect do not dislike having female bodies, then throughout millions of billions of lives, they will always be born as women of royal lineage, or will marry to royalty, or will become daughters of prime ministers, or women in prominent families, or daughters of great elders. They will be of upright birth and full-featured. They will receive such blessings from having sincerely beheld and worshipped Earth-star Bodhisattva. Moreover, universally expansive, there may be good men or women who are able to play music, sing or chant praises, and make offerings of incense and flowers before images of the Bodhisattva, or who are able to exhort one of more others to do likewise. Now and in the future, such people will be surrounded day and night by hundreds of thousands of ghosts and spirits who will even prevent bad news from reaching their ears, much less allow them to be personally involved in any accidents. Moreover, universally expansive, in the future, evil people, evil spirits, or evil ghosts may see good men or women taking refuge with, respectfully making offerings to, praising, beholding, and bowing to images of Earth-star Bodhisattva. Those beings may make the mistake of ridiculing such acts of worship, saying that they are of no merit. They may sneer at those good people, condemn them behind their backs, or get a group or even one other person to have even as little as one thought of condemnation. Such beings will fall into the avarice hell and the extreme misery they will undergo as retribution for their slander will not end even after the 1,000 Buddhas of the worthy aeon have passed into tranquility. Only after that aeon will they be reborn among the hungry ghosts, where they will spend 1,000 more aeons before being reborn as animals. Only after another 1,000 aeons will they obtain human bodies, but they will be poor and lowly with incomplete faculties, and their evil karma will cause them to suffer mental afflictions. Before long, they will fall into the evil paths again. Universally expansive, such are the retributions that those who ridicule and slander others' acts of worship will undergo. How much worse will the retributions be if, besides their slandering, they have other evil views? Moreover, universally expansive, in the future, men or women may be bedridden for a long time and, in spite of their wishes, be unable either to get well or to die. At night they may dream of evil ghosts, or of family and relatives, or of wandering on dangerous paths. In numerous nightmares they may roam with ghosts and spirits. As days, months, and years go by, such people may become weak and emaciated, cry out in pain in their sleep, and become progressively more depressed and melancholy. Those things happen when the force of their karma has not yet been determined, making it difficult for them to die and impossible for them to be cured. The ordinary eyes of men and women cannot perceive such phenomena. In that situation, other people should recite this sutra out loud once before images of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas on behalf of any such sick person. Or they could offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas possessions that the sick person cherishes, such as clothing, jewels, gardens, or houses. They should speak distinctly to the sick person, saying, "Now, before this sutra or these images, we are offering these items on behalf of this sick person." They may offer sutras or images, or commission images of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, or build stupas or monasteries, or light oil lamps, or give to the eternally dwelling. They should tell the sick persons 3 times about the offerings that are being made, making sure that they both hear and understand what is being done. If the sick people's consciousnesses are already scattered and their breathing has stopped, then for 1, 2, 3, 4, and on through 7 days, the other pupil should continue to inform them clearly of the offerings and to read this sutra out loud. When those sick people's lives end, they will gain liberation from all their heavy and disastrous offenses committed in previous lives, even offenses warranting fivefold relentless retribution. They will be born in places where they will always know past lives. So how much greater will the karmic rewards be if good men or women can write out this sutra themselves, or commission others to do so, or if they can carve or paint images themselves, or commission others to do so. The benefits they receive will be great indeed. Therefore, universally expansive, if you see people reading and reciting the sutra, or even having a single thought of praise for it, Or if you meet someone who reveres it, you should employ hundreds of thousands of expedients to exhort such people to be diligent and not retreat. In both the present and the future, they will be unable to obtain thousands of billions of inconceivable meritorious benefits. Moreover, universally expansive beings in the future, while dreaming or drowsy, may see ghosts, spirits, and other forms that are either sad, weeping, worried, fearful, or terrified. Those are all fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, and other relatives from 1, 10, 100, or 1,000 lives past who have not yet been able to leave the bad destinies. They have nowhere to turn for the powerful blessings needed to rescue them. And so they try to communicate with their closest descendants, hoping that those relatives will use some skillful means to help them get out of the evil paths. Universal expansive, using your spiritual power, exhort those descendants to recite the Sutra with a sincere resolve before the images of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, or to request others to recite it either 3 or 7 times. When the sutra has been read aloud the proper number of times, relatives in the evil paths will obtain liberation and never again appear to those who are dreaming or drowsy. Moreover, universal expansive people of low station and those who are slaves or bonded or deprived of their freedom in other ways may be aware of their past deeds and wish to repent of them and reform. If, while beholding and bowing to Earth-Star Bodhisattva's image with sincere resolve for 7 days, they are able to recite his name a full 10,000 times, then when their current retribution ends, those people will always be born into wealth and honor for hundreds of thousands of lives. How much the more will they avoid any of the sufferings of the 3 evil paths? Moreover, universally expansive in the future, in Jambudvipa, when the wives of Kshatriyas, Brahmins, elders, and Upasakas of the various families and clans are about to give birth to sons or daughters, the family members should recite this inconceivable sutra and the Bodhisattva's name a full 10,000 times during the 7 days before the birth of those children. If those infants, whether male or female, had been destined to undergo a terrible retribution for things done in past lives, they will be liberated from those retributions. They will be peaceful, happy, easily raised, and will have long lives. If those children were due to receive blessings, then their peace and happiness will increase, as will their lifespans. Moreover, universal expansive, on the 1st, 8th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 23rd, 24th, 28th, 29th, and 30th days of the lunar month, the offenses of beings are tabulated and their gravity assessed. Every single movement or stirring of thought on the part of beings of Jambudvipa creates karma and offenses. How much more is that the case when they bluntly indulge in killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and hundreds of thousands of other kinds of offenses? If they are able to recite the sutra once on those 10 vegetarian days before the images of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or worthy ones and sages, then no disasters will occur within a radius of 100 yojanas around them. The relatives of those who recite, both the old and young, now and in the future, will be apart from the evil paths throughout hundreds of thousands of years. If they can recite the sutra once on each of these 10 vegetarian days, then there will be no accidents or illnesses in the family, and they will have food and clothing in abundance. Universally expansive. You should know of the beneficial deeds done by Earth-star Bodhisattva as he makes use of his indescribably millions of billions of great awesome spiritual powers. The beings of Jambudvipa have strong affinities with this Bodhisattva. If they hear the Bodhisattva's name, see the Bodhisattva's image, or hear but a few words, a verse, or a sentence of this sutra, they will enjoy particularly wonderful peace and happiness in this present life. Through thousands of millions of future lives, they will always be handsome or beautiful, and they will be born into honorable and wealthy families. Having heard the Buddha thus come and praise Earth-star Bodhisattva in that way, universally expansive Bodhisattva now placed his palms together and again addressed the Buddha, saying, "World Honored One, I have long known that this Bodhisattva has both inconceivable spiritual powers and mighty vows. I have questioned the third come one so that beings in the future could know of these benefits. I now receive your answer most respectfully. World Honored One, what should the title of this sutra be, and how should we propagate it?" The Buddha said to universally expansive, "This sutra has 3 titles. The first is the past vows of Earth-star Bodhisattva. It is also called the Earth-star's past conduct, and also Sutra of the power of Earth-star's past vows. Because this Bodhisattva repeatedly makes such great and mighty vows throughout long aeons to benefit beings, you should all propagate this sutra in accordance with them." After universally expansive had heard that, he placed his palms together respectfully, made obeisance, and withdrew.